times have the 2020 Democrats assured us that they don't actually support the radical agenda of open borders?
Open borders is just a right-wing talking point. It always has been.
No, I don't support open borders.
We do have a problem with the southern border, and Democrats should not deny that we don't. Nations should have borders. Borders should be respected.
Open borders?
Open
borders. That's a Koch brothers proposal.
Just like how they're not socialist, anti-American, or anti-law enforcement, they're not for open borders. You're the crazy people for thinking that. They told us all this with a straight face. But now the Democrat lie is laid bare. In announcing a new rule on family detentions, keeping families together, President Trump is drawing out the 2020 Democrats' true radical nature. It's brilliant. The new rule will end the long-standing and absurd catch-and-release approach that basically lets illegal immigrants with children disappear into the country's interior and ultimately avoid ever having to go before an immigration judge. Now, families under this new rule will be held together in improvised housing while they await their day in court. And children, of course, at the time, will be protected from human traffickers.
So President Obama had separation. I'm the one that brought them together. This new rule will do even more to bring them together. But it was President Obama that had the separation. Very much I have the children on my mind. It bothers me very greatly.
Reacting to this like moths to a flame, Democrats could not help but reveal the open borders fanatics that they truly are.
Instead of working to keep families together and with unaccompanied minors, for instance, to find them family members, usually they have family members that live already in the United States, to find those family members quickly or to find a sponsor who would take them into a loving home.
Okay, there you go again. Castro's exposed right there. First, the Trump administration's new rule, in case he can't actually hear, will keep families together. That's what Castro said he was so worried about before. Once it's actually established that they're actually related. Some of them aren't. Now, an anchor that actually cared about the facts would have interjected there. Second, Julian Castro reveals the Democrats' true agenda all along. A massive resettlement of migrants, most of whom have no valid claims, into the United States. Remember, this costs you more money, crowds our public schools, and facilitates families' use of children to game the system. Unless you think the majority of these unaccompanied minors are toddlers, here's the actual factual breakdown from HHS. In fiscal year 2018, 72% of those minors were between the ages of 15 and 17 years old. And all told, 84% were teenagers from the age of 13 to 17 years old. 18, they become adults. Now, Democrats, like Castro, they love also to talk about alternatives to detention. This is becoming catchy on the campaign trail. So alternatives, I'm going to translate that for you. Release all border crossers, even if you're releasing them into the custody of other illegals. That's allowed now under the law. And if they don't ever show up for their immigration hearings, no penalty, and no deportation. You're not going to deport them. Now, the Democrats' tedious refrain, let's get to that, about kids in cages, immigrants drinking from toilets, and babies ripped from, quote, lactating mothers, turned out to be false liberal media propaganda, fake news. Trump's new rule and ending the 1997 Flores settlement will not just discourage illegal immigration and bogus asylum claims, it will actually reduce human trafficking and save lives, including the lives of all those people that the Democrats claim they care about, migrant women and children. But we were thinking about this today. We're all talking about doing the segment. And sadly, those children are just collateral damage to the radical left. And so are the Americans maimed or killed by open borders policies in states and cities across the United States. Just miles from here, I don't know, 8, 9 miles, officials in Montgomery County, Maryland, declared sanctuary status and refused future cooperation with ICE. The Washington Post lauded the move, of course, and the do-gooder journalists, they're not going to connect the dots. We're not going to connect the dots because not when 4 illegals in the same county were arrested on rape charges just in the last month. One of the accused, a 26-year-old Honduran, allegedly followed a woman to her car, threw her to the ground, strangled her, and then raped her, leaving her for dead. She nearly died. Will any mainstream media outlets ask 2020 Democrats about these alleged crimes? Talk a lot about the kids in cages and other concerns at the border, but what about Americans and immigrants in the United States being brutalized? Not going to cover it. A few weeks ago, they tripped over themselves, emotionally manipulating distraught immigrant children for a political purpose. How many times did they use these children on the air? A lot. But the suffering of the woman in Maryland, just not worth a mention. More human carnage, more collateral damage, all the necessary price to pay for the utopia of a borderless USA. The left, like clockwork, will run to the nearest activist judge, and no doubt, California's Supreme Commander, Dolly G., who masquerades as an impartial federal judge, will rebuff the Trump administration yet again with this new rule. Her past rulings demonstrate how out of control these robed tyrants have become. But regardless of the legal outcome, the president here, I think, prevails politically. His vision for orderly, merit-based immigration and for managing the border wave is pragmatic, it's compassionate, and it upholds the rule of law. The 2020 Democrats' approach is unsustainable, reckless, and can be deadly. And that's the angle.